So, what are significant figures? Significant figures or sig figs are the digits within a number that help determine how accurate a data value or a measurement is. And of course, there are rules. Rule number 1. All numbers that are not zero are significant. Looking at the first example, every single one of these digits are significant because they are non-zero numbers. Rule number 2. Any zeros in the middle of a non-zero numbers are significant. These two zeros are in the middle of 5 and 8. 5 and 8 are two non-zero numbers, so every single digit count as significant. Rule number 3. Zeros after the decimals are significant. These three zeros are after that decimal place, so every single one of these digits is significant. Rule number 4. Zeros and coefficients in scientific notations are significant. Notice we have our scientific notation with something being multiplied by 10 to some sort of power. This 8 and this 0 are significant. Rule number 5. Any leading or beginning zeros are not significant. Looking here at these three are leading or beginning zeros, they do not count as significant. Only these 4 count, so there is only one sig fig. Rule number 6. Zeros in a large number without a decimal are not significant. These 3 zeros are within a large number without a decimal, so do not count as significant. Only these 4, thus, there is only one sig fig. When adding and subtracting numbers, you look for the least amount of decimal places. For this first example, your first step is to line up all the decimal places. Notice how 5004, there is no decimal. However, where the decimal would be after this 4 in the first one's place. So, since we're looking for the least amount of decimal places, that 5004 doesn't have decimal place. So, we will round to the ones place. Remember, when rounding the ones place or rounding any number, you look at the one next to it, to the right, and if it is 5 or more, you round up. Your final answer will be 5,488. We have our 4 sig figs. Moving on to the multiplication and division, when multiplying and dividing numbers, you look for the least amount of sig figs. Your first step is to figure out how many sig figs there are within each number. Notice that there are 3 sig figs in this first number and 6 sig figs in the second, so we will round to 3 sig figs. After multiplying, you then want to go ahead and stop at this 0. So you remove that decimal place and there really only are 3 sig figs. Because of that last rule, this 0 does not count. There is no decimal place. It's within a large number. Only these 3 count as sig figs. It's time to check yourself. Go ahead and try this practice problem. Alright, let's recap what we just learned. Significant figures are digits within a number that help determine accuracy. The 2 rules that you got to know: any leading or beginning zeros do not count as significant. Any zeros in a large number without a decimal are not significant. When adding and subtracting numbers, you look for the least amount of decimal places. When multiplying and dividing, you look for the least amount of sig figs.